So good morning. Next week's Parsha begins with the phrase V'ha'alotecha et hanirot, which literally means when you raise upwards the lamps. And this is one of the 7 passages in the Chumash which refer to, you can say, the mission symbol of Am Yisrael for the whole world. We've often spoken about this, that the menorah, which has also been taken, I think it's Hashgacha Melamayla, it's a symbol of divine providence. The state of Israel took for itself the symbol of the menorah. And it's a very deep symbol. I've explained, I'm not repeating this today, that this is the significance of the Magen David, that this is significance of the 7 days, or 6 days, with the 7th climax of creation, and that the menorah, if one looks deeply, goes all the way through the Tanakh, in many different areas. So, what I will do today in the short time available, if you've got a Chumash, look at the beginning of Parsha, of Yerushalayim, and we'll just raise a few questions. So I'll just say them briefly. Speak to Aaron and say unto him, when you raise up the Neirot, El Mul Panei HaMenorah, opposite the face of the menorah, Ya'iru Shivat HaNeirot, light shall be brought to the 7 lamps. So Rashi says, let's first see the Rashi briefly. I'm just going to paraphrase it. Why is this Parsha brought out to the Parsha of the consecration of the sanctuary, when on each day, beginning of Nisan, each one of the heads of the tribe brought their offerings, and the 12 tribes were here through counting Manasseh and Ephraim as 2 tribes, with the result that Levi was left out. So Rashi brings the Midrash, the mind of Aaron and his participation in this, since he wasn't counted, caused him to be in dismay. Why wasn't he included? Nor was his tribe included. HaKadosh Boruch said to him, your portion is greater than theirs, because you are the one Madlik u'meitib et hanirot. You are the one who kindles and also cleanses the lamps. Barutcha, what does that mean? To go up. Why to go up? Because the flame goes up. Al Shem Sha'alav Olah. That's why it's called Aliyah, goes upwards. Well, so do all the flames. Still, there's special significance. But what is the significance? Rashi says, you have to kindle it until the lamps go, the lights, the flame goes up by itself. That's one explanation. The second explanation, this teaches us that there was a platform in front of the menorah upon which the Kohen stood and cleansed the menorah. So look, I'll already make a brief comment, although there's many things we have to say. Why should kindling the lights be greater than all the others? Not so clear. There must be some message behind it. What does it mean the flame goes up by itself? Well, first let's understand, which we've spoken about previously, The whole mission of the people of Israel is already described with the blessing given to Abraham. When Hashem said to Abraham that you have to follow your path to bring blessing to the whole world. All the nations of the world will be blessed through you. And the parable that's given for this is as follows. Avraham Avinu searched for Hashem, and he recognized him, the master of the universe. And this can be compared to a king who is traveling in dark places. And the dark places within Mesopotamia and other places where people didn't recognize him as the king. So he came to a certain house, and there someone lit a fire, a torch for him. He should be able to find the carriage, should be able to find its way. So the king says to him, instead of just lighting me the path here, please take that torch and run in front of me and show me the way. So also it says Hashem was searching in a dark world which had become submerged in corruption and idolatry and evil between man and man. So he said, I need someone who will recognize me. And since Avraham recognized me, so therefore I'm asking you, Avraham, you go and be the torchbearer, the light. Ha'el Fanai. You bring light in front of me to the whole world. And this is the path and the mission of the people of Israel, to bring the light of Hashem to the dark world. As is described literally so frequently in the prophets. It says, for example, end of Yeshaya, darkness covers the earth and evil spreads everywhere, but upon you Hashem shines. Ulach Yisrach Hashem. And that is your purpose, to be an Ol Amim, to be a light for the nations. So whose duty is it to carry this on? The people of Israel. And what's the significance of the high priest? He is to be the spiritual leader to spread the Torah. Moshe is the one who initiates it. He was the great prophet, and Hashem spoke with him. And he gave him, let's put it this way, in fact the previous verse, the end of last week's Parsha, describes, it says, when Moshe came to the tent of meeting, Hashem spoke with him. From where did he speak from him? From over Aron Ha'idut, over the Ark of the Testimony. He mentioned it, and he spoke with him. This was a direct speech of Hashem to Moshe Rabbeinu. But who was to spread that to the rest of the people? It was Aaron. And from the rest of the people it should spread to the whole world. And therefore the flame is the concept of the enthusiasm. Shalhevet, in fact, is also from the roots, lehit lahev, which means to be enthusiastic, to feel that here we've got a mission to fulfill, to spread the light. And from Aaron HaKohen, the people have to learn to become a mamlechet kohanim, to become a whole kingdom of priests, in order to act as a model for the rest of mankind. And how do you teach? You have to teach in such a way, you can say, the light has to go up by itself. And the people, those who follow the mission and the message of Aaron HaKohen, they're the ones who themselves have of their own motivation to reach the level where they themselves become a flame that brings light far and wide. And as it says, Ma'at min ha'or docha habim lachoshech. A little bit of light disperses enormous darkness. So this is the concept Shelev Shalom Leha. Perhaps this is also the concept that Aaron has to go on a higher level in order to teach the rest of Am Yisrael and through them the world. Now we'll go a bit further. Here we have a question, which apparently Rashi, we can find out what Rashi means. It says that, what do you mean El Mul Pnei HaMenorah? Everyone, if you look at the other text, Pnei HaMenorah means the central shaft. And we'll follow the view, the light, the lamp that burnt on the top of the central shaft, which, for example, like Shabbat is the center between the days before, the days afterwards, in all the areas of the analysis of the 7 branches of the menorah. You also know this in chapter 67, Tehillim, which is really one of the Tehillim, there are quite a few of them, that represent the structure of the menorah. The little verse is the long shaft, and you'll see this also if you go to many synagogues. You'll find the place where the Shliach Tzibor says his tefillah has in front of it what's called a shiviti. There's in front of it, shiviti Hashem Neged Tam, I must always bring Hashem in front of me. And this is frequent in the form of a menorah. And the menorah has on it written the text of chapter 67 of Tehillim, which is the structure of the menorah. And the middle shaft is contains 49 letters, and the branches, together with the branches and the middle shaft, there are 49 words. It's all this concept of 7 times 7. It's really just an intensification of the symbol of the menorah. So, Pnei menorah means the central shaft from which the branches go out. So therefore, what does it mean? It should have said, El Mul Pnei HaMorah Ya'iru Shivat HaNirot. In other words, because there was a difference shown in many places that just like the Ark of it's called the Ark of the Testimony, Aron Ha'edut. And also, it's interesting that in another passage, it says that there should be a Ner Tamid, and the expression which is used is that this is Edut. And the sages say, what is the testimony? What's the proof? He said the light of the menorah is a proof to all inhabitants of the world that the Shekhinah rests amongst the people of Israel. Which is a rather cryptic statement. But what was the proof? The proof was that for many generations they put into each lamp, they put in enough for it to kindle me'erev ad boker, from evening till morning. And the same amount of oil was also put in the central shaft lamp, the middle lamp, called the Ner Maravi. Why it's called the Ner Maravi? Because the central lamp, the wick was turned towards the Holy of Holies. The Holy of Holies was covered with parochet, with a curtain, and behind it was, in the first temple period, the Aron Ha'edut, the Ark of the Covenant. And why it's called Aron? Shemisham Teitze Ora La'olam. Aron, the word, is connected also to the root or, which means light. Because the light of the world was contained in this Ark. Because it's called Ark of the Aron HaBrit, Ark of the Covenant. What did it contain? It contained the Sefer Torah, written by Moshe Rabbeinu, and it contained the Luchot HaEdut. Both the broken Luchot, which are written by Hashem, as it were, and also the other Luchot, written by Moshe Rabbeinu, inscribed. And this was testimony. What was the testimony? Testimony was they only put enough oil into this lamp, which was turned towards the Holy of Holies, which was enough for the morning. And nevertheless, by miracle, until the death of Shimon HaTzadik, who was a great saint, still one of the remnants of the men of the Great Assembly, and he was a very big tzaddik, very big saint, who was able even to indirectly be the symbol of the influence over Alexander the Great to permit the people of Israel to continue their religion completely. And why is it Alexander is a Jewish name? Many Jews, until today, they carry that name. Why? It goes right back to Alexander the Great, who was a great friend of the Jewish people, and recognized the superior wisdom of Torah over Hellenism. And the symbol for this was Shimon HaTzadik. Because when he died, unfortunately, there came about a partial corruption of the high priesthood. Many high priests, Sadducees, a lot of problems with high priests afterwards. But until his time, what happened? The oil put into that central lamp lasted for 24 hours, although there's only put in enough for for the night, and not for the day, but it kept on burning. So that there was a ner tamid, there was a continuous lamp. Even today we have a memory of it that we have generally like to put in front of the aron in the synagogues. We put a ner tamid that should never go out. Always light is there, even when, unfortunately some electricity cuts, but otherwise it should not be affected by any changes. You leave it there constantly as a symbol of the constant light, which is miraculous. The constant light of the people of Israel does not become dimmed. So what's the difference between the word of Hashem given to Moshe and the Aron, the ark, which also brought light to the world? So the difference is, the Ark of the Covenant represents the essence of Torah Shebichtav, the divine inspiration in the words of the Chumash and the Luchot. But the light of the menorah is something else, has to be kindled by Aaron. That's the Torah Shebaal Peh, that's the oral law. The oral law which takes out as a source of inspiration the divine word of Hashem. But the oral law is different. The oral law is not just the words. And the words could be written in Aramaic, and even the words could be in Art Scroll English, the oral tradition. But the main thing is you've got to understand it. You've got to light up the hearts and minds of the people of Israel. And that's the concept of the light. So it's the Torah Shebaal Peh. It's the way in which Avraham Avinu used his prophetic revelations to go and spread the word. That's Torah Shebaal Peh. It comes from the mouth of the teacher to the mouth of a disciple. And it's got to spread to the whole nation. So that's the concept here as well. Even the concept, how do you teach Torah Shebaal Peh? The important thing is to teach in such a manner that you don't just get passive recipients who just take in the words and that's it. But as a result of your words, people will come inspired and they'll go on learning even by themselves. They'll go on studying by themselves. They'll go on studying with the Chavruta, and then they'll spread the light further. You've got to teach people to teach themselves. And that's inherent in the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. The mitzvah of Talmud Torah is to learn Torah and to teach it. It's one mitzvah. You've got to learn in order to teach. You've got to learn that you yourself should become sufficiently inspired and able to teach others. Because if not, it just remains passive. And Torah Shebaal Peh is you can say, this is the bloodstream, the life stream of the people of Israel, which does not allow the Sefer Torah, the book of the Torah, to remain in the ark and to be taken out and be adorned. That's not good enough. As it says, Atakitu lachem et Torah azot, you've got to write this Torah. And some people ask, why don't you make a bracha on writing the Sefer Torah? So some answer, there's no bracha said when you write a Sefer Torah. And there's the last mitzvah of the Torah, Kitvu lachem, a Torah zot. So why do you say bracha on it? We often have the possibility, even you write one letter in the Torah, you're fulfilling the mitzvah of writing the Sefer Torah. And that's where whenever the Achnasat Sefer Torah, people queue up to write in a letter. But nobody, even the one who writes the last letter, does not say bracha. Why not? Because it says, Kitvu lachem et Torah, so you've got to write this Torah. But it says afterwards that Simu b'fiyah. You've got to put the Torah in their mouth. Lamda et b'nei, teach it to the people of Israel and put it in their mouths. People have got to learn the Torah. And learning the Torah, we say Baruch in the morning. And since writing the Torah is the means whereby you can teach the Torah, that's also why the Rosh and other poskim say, you fulfill the mitzvah of buying a Sefer Torah or writing a Sefer Torah. If you also, you buy or you write or you learn Torah Sheba'al Peh, books of Torah Sheba'al Peh, is also a fulfillment of Kativat Sefer Torah, even on Gemara, on Rishonim. Why? Because the main bracha you say is la'asok b'divrei Torah, which includes the writing it. Anyway, this is part of the points here. The question is, why is there Yeshivat? So Rashi says, Shisha dakanim, Shlosha hamizrachiim ponim l'mola imsai. So Rashi said, the three branches on the side, three lamps on the side turn to the middle one, and the three on the west side also turn to the middle one. And why is this? The people shouldn't say, Hashem needs their light. Hashem doesn't need their light. In other words, the purpose of it all is to bring, but it said bring light to the seven nerot. Some people ask, so according to Rashi, why is there seven nerot? But the answer could be, the Ner Maravi, the middle lamp, which is the lamp that turns to the Holy of Holies, is the lamp of the teacher, as it were. Because he's got to take inspiration from the written Torah and know how to explain it in the oral Torah. And the lamps on the side are the disciples. So if he's got to spread to the disciples have to listen to the teacher. But so why does they say there's seven lamps? If the middle lamp represents the Kohen, and the Kohen Gadol until Shimon HaTzadik, in whose merit there was a miraculous power given to him, that oil, which is only enough for the night, it burned for more than 24 hours to make it possibly continuous. He's the teacher. And on both sides are the disciples, Am Yisrael. So therefore, he's got to teach them. And they have to turn towards the teacher. And it's got to be until the lamp goes up by itself. This is the pshat of the Chatan Sofer. So he said it like this, that this is until Aaron HaKohen had this power on a high level, a miraculous power, and we'll soon see how it's carried on. We won't have time today, but perhaps we'll hear it some other time. This carried on with miracle of Hanukkah, of the power of the Chashmonaim, and carried on until this day in all the Batei Midrash. So the principle is, the teacher gains his power from the disciples. Or whatever a person learns, it says the principle is, as it says in the Gemara, on the Amoraim, I've learned a lot from my teachers. I've learned more from my partners in learning. Yeah, my sporting partners, because chavruta means a sport. You've got to try and use the team spirit to produce greater attachment to the inspiration emotionally, and also the stretching of the intellect, the stretching of the mind to reach a higher level. From whom do you learn most? From true Talmidim. True Talmidim who take notice and who respond and who ask you different questions. This is the way whereby a teacher learns more than he can learn from anybody else. So therefore, Yeshivat, therefore the seven lamps, all kindled with the light. And then if I ask him, then Aaron did so. He did this. Opposite the Pnei Menorah, the middle, he raised up all the lights, like Hashem had commanded. And this is the work of the menorah. It's got to be made of one piece of gold, from its base until its flowers. It's one beaten talent of gold which is formed into the menorah. Like the vision which Hashem told to Moshe, so he made the menorah. So this is the concept that the menorah which was very difficult. Rashi gives the explanation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed him with the finger how to do it, because it was so difficult to make it. And really, what does it mean? There's one talent of gold which is beaten with a hammer, and then it was cut out with chisels, all its different limbs. It was not made of different parts that were then joined together. And Yerecha is the base of the menorah, and Pircha, that means the body of the menorah, all of it, and all the different cups and buds and blossoms, they should all be made of one piece. And then it says, like the vision which was shown on the mountain, so the menorah he made. Who made it? Mishas, whoever made it. But the Midrash said it was made by HaKadosh Baruch Hu of its own accord. So to understand this a bit more deeply also, we see already hints at in Rashi, there are two aspects here. In fact, if you go to it more deeply, I want to the one who is most deep in this is the commentary of the Ramban and then the commentary of Rabbeinu Bechaya. Rabbeinu Bechaya says quite correctly that if you study this more thoroughly, then the right meaning of it is given by some of the writings of the Kabbalah. And that explains the simple meaning of the text. But you can even explain it further. We know that in the 4th chapter of Zechariah, he had a vision of the golden menorah. And if you read that chapter, it's also maftir for some of the parshas that deal with the menorah, on Hanukkah, that this was shown to him, this menorah, at the beginning of the Second Temple period. And of course, Zechariah knew what the menorah was when he saw it in his dream. It was a special golden menorah where the oil flowed in by itself. If you look at it carefully, that if you maybe I've given many talks on this, what that whole vision represents, but it represents the menorah which exists in heaven. There's a spiritual menorah. And the physical menorah, I mean, you see a model of it when you go to the Kotel. You see a model of the golden menorah. Now, that menorah is not quite in accordance with the pattern given of the original menorah by the Rambam, but there are many commentators who say it looked to a great extent like this menorah, because it's based to some extent on the form of the menorah which Titus took out from the Beit HaMikdash when he destroyed it, and he had the Jewish prisoners and others who were taken to Rome. It was taken as a model for the Arch of Titus, which still exists today. Yeah. And I'll tell you a story about this. I had the great zechut to be quite friendly with the late Horovitz who built up the Horovitz Yeshiva, and it was the Chavrusa of the Horovitz Chaim many years. And so, I'm sorry, a disciple of the Horovitz Chaim. He was a disciple of the Horovitz Chaim. He was the Chavrusa of Chona Wasserman. They were both disciples of the Horovitz Chaim. And this is apparent also, if you haven't visited Horovitz Yeshiva, I recommend that you should do so when you're in Bnei Brak. Take the opportunity. And then you'll see, do any of you know, what will you see written all still in golden letters on the top of Horovitz Yeshiva? What's written there? Any of you know? No? A pasuk. Over Zion Tifleta. Well, you must know this, some of you. Over Zion Tifleta. Haya Kodesh. On the mountain of Zion there'll be a remnant, and it will become holy. So why? Let me ask you the question. Why did he put Har Zion? Where's Har Zion? Any of you know where Har Zion is? Look, I ask everybody who would like to say this, Kolal should maybe listening. Please. Anyone's, I don't want to say it because I don't want people, everyone who's listening. Can anyone answer this question? On the Ponevezh Yeshiva, where is it? Which place is it? In Bnei Brak.
Yeah.
And where's Har Zion?
Yerushalayim.
Where is it? None of you know where the mountain of Zion is?
Where Kibbutz David is.
Where is it? Near where?
Near the valley of...
Yes, it's near the Temple Mount, not very far, is the mountain of Zion. There's a yeshiva there also by that name, Har Zion. So if Har Zion Yeshiva, also diaspora yeshiva, would have put on top of the yeshiva the verse from the prophet Ovadia, who says that even when Esav will try to destroy the people of Israel, there will be a remnant on the mountain of Zion, and that will become holy. I think diaspora yeshiva is the perfect right to go and put that verse in golden letters on the yeshiva. Right or wrong? Am I right or wrong?
Right.
You're right, but it seems when people just...
So why do we find the only place in Israel which has in golden letters this verse on the yeshiva is in Bnei Brak? Why is that? Or maybe some people in Bnei Brak who think that they're the holy city of Israel, but they're not. Which is the holy city of Israel? Yerushalayim, Har Zion. Yeah. Ki mitzion tetzeh Torah. It doesn't say Bnei Brak. Yeah. This is the major place. Yeah. So, why did he put it there? None of you know? So look, I'll tell the story again. When the Horovitz Chaim, I think that since there was a silent film, maybe even the first one made on a Jewish subject, made almost 100 years ago, which showed us a fantastic picture of the Horovitz Chaim. Very interesting, which if you haven't seen, maybe we'll put it on again on the screen, so you should see it. The Horovitz Chaim was the greatest sage of his time, a very great saint. And what was his name?
Meir Yisroel.
Huh?
Yisroel Meir.
Yisroel Meir Kagan. But why is he known by Horovitz Chaim?
Because he wrote the Sefer Hafetz Chaim.
His first work he published anonymously. Wouldn't put his name on. But it's called Horovitz Chaim. Why is it called Horovitz Chaim? What does it contain? Shmirat HaLashon. It taught us to avoid strife and to learn all the laws of how to speak positively in every area of life. So that's what it's. So he still witnessed the coming to power of the greatest evil of the last century, Hitler, Makshamo. Yeah? And he came up with his program. He wants to destroy the Jewish people. And before he died, he spoke to his Talmidim, including the Ponevezh Harov, his son's Talmidim. Do any of you know what was the name of the Ponevezh Harov? Huh? Rabbi Yosef Kahaneman. He was also a Kohen. And he followed the ways of the Horovitz Chaim very much. So they asked him, what's going to happen? Are all these threats from the Germans, should we take notice of them or not? And we see today there's so many Jews who are assimilating. What's going to happen to European Jewry? So he said he sees, unfortunately, unless all Am Yisrael do teshuvah, there are clouds gathering. And we live in the time before the Mashiach. And the Horovitz also said, when the Balfour Declaration came out, and said that the League of Nations, they declared that Britain was one of the members, that Britain should take over the mandate to provide a Jewish home for the suffering Jewish people. So he said this is a smile from divine providence. And he saw, in fact he also wanted very much to come, when he was getting old, to come and settle, and I think even he put on something for a house, to go and settle in Eretz Israel. And he encouraged people to go. He wanted to go as well. But then he got very ill, he saw his end is nearing. So he said, I see that Jewry as a whole, and the Torah communities in particular of Europe, are going to become destroyed. So when he said that, so they asked him, so where will the revival come from? Because the main powerhouse of Jewry at that time, of all the greatest scholars in the Yeshivat, was in Europe, Eastern Europe. And if he's out to destroy them all, what's going to happen? So he said, it says in the prophet, it says, it says that when there's going to be a rise for the power of Esav, and their words are brought in that there's only the only prophecy which is one chapter, Ovadia, where he describes the power. He says, "Im Kanesha, you're going to take you're going to try to reach the level of the eagle, to reach the highest powers in the world." The eagle was also the symbol of the Nazis. You're going to try and get to that top. And even if you want to put your power right up in the stars, Misham Yorid Hashem, from there Hashem will bring you down and destroy you. And what about the people of Israel? There'll be a remnant. Where will the remnant be? On Har Zion. In Eretz, Har Zion there is a reference to the mountain of Zion, Yerushalayim. But in a wider sense, Zion is also used by the prophets to refer to the whole of the land of Israel. Because Zion means a direction. Because Eretz Israel, all of it, has as its holiest place Har Zion, which then spreads also in its influence to the rest of the land. So he said the remnants will be there. So Boruch Wasserman, you might have read some of his writing, Epoch of the Messiah. He was a great battler against the secular Zionists. And because at that time also, there were many people who left the Yeshivat in Eastern Europe and joined. They said it was a bit communist influence, but they decided, oh, okay, we're no longer following the old ways, we're going to build up our new life in the land of Israel without religion. We'll forget about the Cheder where we went to. That's what happened. There are many, at that time, Eastern Europe was flooded with organizations that were even influenced by the communists, and some of them became assimilated entirely to the communists. Others said, no, let's make our own nation. Nationalism also took over a lot. We'll have the Jewish nation to replace the Jewish religion. So he said, what from there's going to be a future. We see what's happening. And also you see what's happening already a bit with some of the Eastern communities some of them come to the land of Israel, and there they show them you can forget about the old religion. And in America also, everybody's assimilating. Jews come there and they can't get, most of them can't keep Shabbos. They can't get work without having to work on Shabbos. And they're leaving the religion. So he said, in Eretz Yisrael, so he said, yes, there'll be a remnant. V'haya Kodesh. So to answer, Boruch Wasserman, it says, they'll become holy. He says, you expect holiness from there? He said, yes. The Vav is, in Hebrew, called Vav HaHipuch, the conversive Vav, the revolutionary Vav. Mapecha is a revolution. There's going to be a spiritual revolution in the land of Israel, which will become the greatest place of holiness, where Jews will build up Torah life. That's what he said. So what happened? Unfortunately, the power of the eagle drove out, destroyed nearly all the communities in Eastern Europe. And rabbis of communities in the area of Lithuania all annihilated. The only rabbi from the Lithuanian communities who was able to get out in the middle of the war was the chief rabbi of Ponevezh. He was also once a member of parliament in Poland, So he managed to escape. And he came here to Israel, having lost all his family, with nothing. And he decided to build this yeshiva. And why did he put that pasuk on the top? Because of what the Horovitz told him. So he carried on the light of the Torah. He's a Kohen. It's because Horovitz was a Kohen. Some of the Kohanim are the highest level. He was also one, Horovitz was the greatest teacher, and the Ponevezh also one of the greatest disciples of Horovitz and built up Torah here in the land of Israel and brought new spirit. It's one of the highest level yeshiva, and let's hope that Yitzhak Hashem can't go now. There's many important lessons. If any of you now read, we've got it in English, fortunate enough. And if you want something fascinating, read in English the commentary of the Ramban, Nachmanides, on this passage, and then read what's even more deep is Rabbeinu Bechaya, which you've also got over here, you can see. Rabbeinu Bechaya in English, and I think it can inspire all of you.
Where's the... Excuse me, where's
on this
the...
passage.
No, where's the book of the Rambam? I was looking for that...
Ramban?
The Ramban, okay.
Ramban, yes.
Okay.
Ramban is a blue volume.
Yeah.
I've got it in translation.
Okay, it's Rambam.
I advise everybody to study that. And maybe on Sunday I'll give a further talk on it at a deeper level. I'd really like to do after Shabbos. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.